over 2 decades, Bungie was one of the most respected studios in gaming. They built Destiny, one of the biggest live service games ever. They created Halo, one of the most iconic franchises in Xbox history. But now, Bungie is facing layoffs, controversial decisions, and massive backlash from the gaming community. And a lot of players are asking the same question: did Sony ruin Bungie? Or did Bungie destroy itself? Before anything else, we need to understand the big Bungie we used to know. Back in the early 2000s, Bungie created Halo Combat Evolved, a game that literally helped to define the original Xbox. How Halo revolutionized the console shooters. Halo revolutionized the console shooters. It introduced massive multiplayer battles, iconic storytelling. For years, Bungie was considered one of the best studios in the world, but eventually Bungie left Microsoft. In 2007, it became independent. That decision would change everything, the course of the studio's decision making and the future of Bungie. After leaving Microsoft, Bungie partnered with Activision to create Destiny. The game launched in 2014 and it became huge. And then later on, Destiny 2 turned into one of the biggest live service games on the planet. Millions of players were grinding, raiding. They were also doing night strikes and PvP. But Destiny also introduced something that will follow Bungie for years. Players started complaining about the expensive DLCs, the cosmetics, even the content vaulting itself. You pay almost $40 for a season pass for special DLCs, exotic weapons, but it gets content vaulted. But Bungie still survived because Destiny had an incredible fan base. 2022 was the biggest year for Bungie and Destiny's franchise. Sony Interactive Entertainment bought Bungie for $3.6 billion. Sony said Bungie will help them build live service games. At the time, many fans were excited. Sony promised Bungie will stay independent and keep control of its games. That was a little bit of foreshadowing right there, huh? But soon after the purchase, things started going downhill for Bungie. In 2023 and 2024, Bungie went up through major layoffs. Reports suggested that Bungie missed revenue targets by a huge margin. Some insiders claimed the morale inside the studios was collapsing. Destiny 2's player numbers started to begin declining. And Sony reports starting taking more control over Bungie's operation. Many fans began blaming Sony for pushing more live service profit. Bungie announced Marathon instead of a story-driven shooter like the original Marathon games. Yes, this is not an original Bungie idea or IP. It's a reboot series from the old Marathon game back in '94. The new Marathon is a live service extraction shooter, and the reaction from the gamers has been mixed. Content creators, streamers, YouTube. Some players say it looks interesting, but others think Bungie is chasing industry trends instead of innovating, and that criticism is only added in the idea that Bungie has lost its identity. Now here's the real question: did Sony actually ruin Bungie, or the problems were already there? Some people argue Sony pushed Bungie towards more monetization, more live service, more financial pressure, but others argue Bungie made those decisions long before Sony arrived. After all, Destiny monetization started years earlier, so the truth might be somewhere in the middle. Bungie used to be one of the most beloved studios in gaming. Now it's one of the most controversial. Studio that once created Halo is now struggling to convince players its future games is worth your dollar. The hype, whether it's Sony's fault or Bungie's own decision making, it's still something that players and gamers are still debating to this day. But one thing is clear: the gaming industry, it is changing, and even legendary studios ain't safe from the pressure of AAA publishers like Sony, Microsoft, Activision, Blizzard, etc. You know, I hope you guys enjoyed this little short video. Please comment, like down, give me your opinion. I always want to hear you guys' opinion. Catch you guys on the flip. Peace.